Welcome, seekers of the hidden truths. Welcome back to the library of the Karmic Zodiac. To understand a Sagittarius is to understand the fundamental tension of the universe, the space between the animal and the divine. In ancient iconography, they are the Centaur half-wild beast, grounded in the mud and instinct, and half-human, aiming a bow toward the infinite stars. This is not merely a symbol, it is the blueprint of their psychology. We often hear that Sagittarius is the fun sign, the traveler, the optimist. And while true, these descriptors are dangerously superficial. They fail to capture the terrifying depth that lies beneath that jovial surface. Today, we are not just listing traits, we are dissecting the soul of the archer. We are exploring a paradox that has puzzled astrologers for centuries. How can the zodiac's kindest, most generous spirit also be the one capable of the coldest, most absolute detachment? Through a rigorous analysis of 20 core archetypes, we will uncover why their kindness is not a weakness, but a conscious choice, and why their wrath is not a tantrum, but a karmic lesson. If you carry the fire of the archer in your chart, or if you have been burned by one, I invite you to leave your mark in the comments below. Let us begin this dissection. Let us first address the foundation of the Sagittarian temper, the influence of Jupiter. As the planetary ruler of expansion, wisdom, and higher learning, Jupiter grants the archer a unique psychological mechanism regarding forgiveness. In our research, we observe a pattern often mistaken for naivety. A Sagittarius will forgive you. They will overlook your flaws, your momentary lapses in judgment, and your sharp words. Why? Because their spirit is designed for expansion. To hold a grudge is to contract, to shrink, to carry dead weight. A Sagittarius refuses to let the rot of resentment stagnate their flow of energy. They forgive because they value their own freedom more than they value the satisfaction of anger. However, here lies the first dangerous misunderstanding. Do not confuse the release of emotion with the erasure of memory. When a Sagittarius forgives, they are metabolizing the pain so it doesn't poison them. But the data of your betrayal? That is archived in the vaults of their mind with crystal clarity. This aligns with the archetype of the scholar. They are collecting data points on your character. When you break their trust, they do not scream, they recalibrate. The version of you that existed in their mind, the idealized version they wanted to believe in, dies. They may still smile at you, they may still interact with you, but the access code to their inner sanctum has been revoked. They are masters of the soft close. They don't slam the door, they simply change the locks while you are still standing on the porch, unaware that you can never truly enter again. This connects deeply to the philosophical concept of tabula rasa. Sagittarius approaches every human interaction wanting to write a beautiful story. They project their own inner light onto you. Trite Hashan one. They act as a mirror, reflecting not who you are, but who you could be. But when you shatter that mirror through repeated betrayal, the reflection disappears, and you are left only with the cold, hard judgment of the archer. Moving deeper into the psyche, we encounter the mechanism of the jester. You will notice that the Sagittarius is often the loudest laugh in the room, the one cracking jokes when the atmosphere is heavy. Trite Hashonanin. From a psychological perspective, this is a defense mechanism known as altruistic sublimation. The Sagittarius is acutely aware of the suffering in the world and within themselves. Their philosophical mind constantly wrestles with existential dread. To combat this, they weaponize humor. But this is where the tragedy lies. Who heals the healer? Who entertains the clown? A Sagittarius will use humor to bandage your wounds while they are essentially bleeding out internally. They detest pity. To show weakness is, in their primal mind, to be vulnerable to the predator. So, they wear the mask of the comedian. They will distract you with wit, sarcasm, and goofy charm, effectively saying, "Look at the bright light, don't look at the shadow behind me." This creates a dangerous blind spot for those around them. You may think the Sagittarius is fine because they are laughing. You may think they are resilient because they are making you feel better. But the research suggests that their emotional breaking point is often invisible until it is crossed. Furthermore, their humor is not without boundaries. Trait Hashon 0. There is a specific frequency to Sagittarian humor. It is communal and bonding. However, the moment that humor curdles into disrespect, The jester vanishes, and the judge appears. They can transition from a belly laugh to a glacial stare in a microsecond. This sudden shift is often jarring for people. It is the Centaur reminding you, I am playing with you, but I am not a toy. One of the most profound aspects of this sign is the purity of their benevolence. Trite, Hashanate. In a world governed by transactional relationships, I do this for you, so you do this for me. Sagittarius is an anomaly. They are generous because it is their nature to radiate. Much like the sun, though they are ruled by Jupiter, they share the fire element's radiative quality. They help because they see the interconnectedness of all things. They want to elevate the collective vibration. It is kindness, born of curiosity and a genuine desire to see others thrive. But this brings us to the most dangerous tipping point in our analysis, the silence. Because their kindness is not a negotiation, they do not announce when it is withdrawn. Most signs will fight you. A Scorpio might sting, an Aries might scream, a Gemini might debate. Sagittarius, they engage in the terrifying act of erasure. When they realize their kindness is being siphoned by a parasite, someone fake, manipulative, or ungrateful, they do not present a list of grievances. They do not ask for an apology. They simply decide that you no longer exist in their reality. This is rooted in their mutable fire quality. Fire does not bargain with the wood it burns. It simply moves on to new fuel. When a Sagittarius ghosts or cuts ties, it is rarely an act of punishment. It is an act of preservation. They are preserving their light from being dimmed by your shadow. The danger here is the lack of closure. They leave you with the silence of a library after closing hours. You are left analyzing what went wrong, while they have already packed their bags physically or metaphorically and moved on to the next adventure. They have processed the truth, accepted it, and released you. We must now discuss the weapon of the archer, the truth trait #6 and #5. In Vedic astrology, this sign is associated with dharma righteousness and cosmic law. Therefore, lying is physically painful for an evolved Sagittarius. It creates a dissonance in their spirit. They believe that truth, no matter how sharp, is the highest form of respect one can offer. To a sensitive soul, a Sagittarius can seem abrasive. They do not sugarcoat, they cauterize. If you ask them for advice, they will act as a pristine mirror. If you look ugly in that mirror, they believe it is not their job to paint a prettier picture, but to show you the reflection so you can clean yourself up. But here is where the dangerous teacher archetype emerges. Usually they restrain their tongue to be polite. But if provoked, if you attack their integrity or insult their intelligence, that restraint evaporates. They possess an uncanny ability to identify your deepest insecurity. The one thing you are most afraid is true about yourself, and they will articulate it with surgical precision. They do not need to shout. They will deliver a sentence so devastatingly accurate that it dismantles your ego instantly. This is not cruelty for cruelty's sake. It is the tower moment in tarot. They destroy the false structure so the truth can be rebuilt. But to the recipient, it feels like a massacre. We have only just begun to scratch the surface of this complex archetype. We have looked at their mind and their voice, but what of their heart? What happens when their fiercely protective nature is triggered? And what is the one thing, the absolute red line, that turns this freedom-loving sign into an unmovable wall of ice? We will continue this dissection in the next section, exploring the volatility of their freedom and the ruthlessness of their loyalty. If there is one word that acts as the master key to the Sagittarian psyche, it is sovereignty. In popular astrology, this is often reduced to a love for travel or commitment issues, but our research demands a deeper look. For the archer, freedom is not just a preference, it is an oxygen supply. They possess a psychological constitution that is allergic to stagnation and control. When you attempt to cage a Sagittarius, whether through micromanagement in the workplace, jealousy in a relationship, or emotional manipulation in a friendship, you are not just annoying them. You are triggering a primal survival instinct. The paradox here is fascinating. Sagittarius is a mutable sign, meaning they are adaptable and willing to compromise on almost anything. Where to eat, what movie to watch, how to spend the day. They are easygoing. But the moment they feel the invisible tightening of a leash, the wild horse archetype kicks in. The danger lies in the speed of their rebellion. A Sagittarius will not negotiate for their freedom. They will not ask for permission to breathe. If the environment feels restrictive, they will simply break the lock. This is why their departures often feel so abrupt to others. They don't rebel to hurt you. They rebel to save themselves. As the philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre noted, "Freedom is what you do with what's been done to you." Sagittarius lives this. They would rather walk alone in the wilderness than sit comfortably in a cage. Let us examine their mechanism of loyalty, trait #7 and #7. Because of their friendly, extroverted nature, it is easy to mistake a Sagittarius's acquaintances for their friends. They know many, but they trust few. However, once you are initiated into their inner circle, the dynamic shifts entirely. The playful jester disappears, and the guardian emerges. Fire signs are instinctively protective, but Sagittarius adds a layer of moral duty to this protection. If you are their person, they will stand between you and the world. They will defend your name in rooms where you are not present. It is a fierce, almost parental form of loyalty, but this loyalty operates on a strict contract of integrity. The danger emerges when this contract is breached. Sagittarius views loyalty as a binary state. It exists, or it does not. There is no gray area. If you betray them, especially through deceit or by siding with their enemies, you do not just lose a friend. You trigger the scorched earth policy. Unlike water signs, Scorpio or Pisces, who might linger in the emotional murky waters of a breakup, or earth signs who might try to fix the practicalities, Sagittarius utilizes the element of fire to purify. They burn the bridge to ensure they can never cross it again. They will protect you with their life one day and treat you like a stranger the next. It is not that they stopped caring. It is that they have surgically removed you from their value system to preserve their own honor. We often describe Sagittarius as a battery for the zodiac, infinitely optimistic and energetic, trait #3. But this metaphor is flawed. They are not a battery, they are a generator. They create energy through inspiration and connection. However, because they radiate so much warmth, they attract what we might call energy vampires, people who are cold, needy, or perpetually negative. At first, the benevolent archer will share their light. They will try to lift you up, carry your burdens, and make you laugh. But notice this warning. They are hyper-aware of reciprocity. Sagittarius has a low tolerance for emotional stagnancy. If they pour energy into you and you remain a black hole, taking without giving, complaining without changing, they will initiate a withdrawal sequence. This is often confusing for the recipient. You might wonder, why are they suddenly so quiet? Why are they distant? Trait #2. It is because they have realized the investment is bad. They are recharging their own flame by pulling it away from you. They will give you space to fix yourself, but if you demand their attention while draining their spirit, they will vanish. They refuse to let their fire be extinguished by someone else's damp spirit. There is a specific nuance to Sagittarian kindness that is often missed. It is educational kindness, trait #4. Ruled by the planet of wisdom, they help you not just to solve your immediate problem, but to teach you how to solve it yourself. They are the ones who will give you a ride, help you move house, or loan you money without interest. But there is a rule of one. They will move mountains for you once. They will observe what you do with that help. Did you learn? Did you grow? Or are you back in the same mess because of the same bad decisions? Sagittarius despises incompetence and learned helplessness. If they sense that you are using their kindness as a crutch, their generosity dries up instantly. They are not cruel. They are essentially saying, "I will not enable your weakness." They are the teachers who stop giving you the answers, so you are forced to learn the lesson. This withdrawal of help can feel like a punishment, but in the mind of the archer, it is the final lesson they offer you: independence. Finally, in this section, we must address the most terrifying aspect of the sign, the explosion trait, #9. It is a common misconception that fire signs are always angry. Aries flares up quickly and cools down. Leo roars to demand respect. But Sagittarius? Sagittarius is the long fuse. They are the most philosophical of the fire signs, meaning they can rationalize a lot of bad behavior. They make excuses for you. They look at the big picture. They tolerate things that would make other signs scream. But this tolerance is finite. Because they hold things in, archiving them in that mental library we discussed, the pressure builds. When a Sagittarius finally snaps, it is not an argument. It is a supernova. They will unload months, sometimes years, of suppressed grievances. They will recite dates, times, and exact words you said. It is a total release of chaotic energy. And because they are ruled by truth, they will say the things that civilized people usually keep inside. The danger here is that once this explosion happens, there is no going back. The lava destroys the landscape. Often, after a Sagittarius explodes, they feel a sense of relief and clarity. They are done. The relationship is often incinerated in the process, but the archer walks away feeling lighter, having finally purged the poison. We have analyzed their defense mechanisms, their loyalty, and their rage. But what lies at the very end of this journey? What is the ultimate lesson that a Sagittarius leaves in the lives of those they touch? And why is it said that they are the agents of karma itself? In the final segment of our research, we will uncover the spiritual implications of crossing a Sagittarius and the beautiful, terrifying finality of being someone they used to know. As we approach the core of the Sagittarian mystery, we must debunk the myth that they are always loud, chaotic, or distracted. While they are governed by fire, there is a distinct phase of their cycle that resembles the stillness of a predator before the strike. Research into their behavioral patterns reveals that Sagittarius possesses a terrifying capacity for silent observation, trait #3. They are often the ones sitting back in a social setting, watching the dynamics of the room. They see who interrupts whom. They see the micro-expressions of deceit. They hear what is not being said. Because they detest unnecessary drama, trait #height, viewing it as low vibrational noise, they will often remove themselves from chaotic situations quietly. But do not mistake this withdrawal for ignorance. They are gathering intelligence. The danger arises when you assume their silence means submission. It does not. It is merely the calm before the storm. When a Sagittarius finally speaks up after a period of silence, they are not speculating. They are delivering a verdict. They have already weighed the evidence. This is why their confrontations are so disorienting for manipulative people. You thought you were getting away with it because they were quiet. In reality, they were just letting you dig your own grave. This brings us to perhaps the most mystical aspect of our analysis, the relationship between Sagittarius and karma trait #6. In our extensive study of the zodiac, Sagittarius stands out as a sign that rarely engages in calculated revenge. Scorpios might plot, Capricorns might ruin your reputation professionally. But Sagittarius? They simply walk away. Why? Because they are ruled by Jupiter, the great benefic. Ancient texts suggest that those under Jupiter's protection do not need to muddy their hands with vengeance because the universe handles it for them. There is a strange, observable phenomenon surrounding this sign: instant karma. When someone wrongs a Sagittarius, betrays their trust, trait #4, or acts with malice, the Sagittarius detaches. Almost immediately, the life of the betrayer tends to unravel. Plans fail, secrets are exposed, or they lose the very thing they tried to take. We can interpret this psychologically or spiritually. Psychologically, the Sagittarius acts as a truth anchor. When you remove the person who was keeping you honest, your own lies consume you. Spiritually, it is believed that by hurting a seeker of truth, you invite the chaos of falsehood into your own life. The Sagittarius knows this. They trust the cosmic equilibrium. Their danger is passive. They don't have to destroy you. They just have to withdraw their light, and you will stumble in the dark on your own. We cannot conclude this profile without honoring their archetype as the Crusader trait #2. In a world that often rewards conformity, Sagittarius is plagued by a compulsive need for justice. This is not about being nice. It is about alignment with moral law. Most people will stay silent to keep the peace. A Sagittarius will burn the peace to the ground if the peace is built on a lie. They are the whistleblowers of the zodiac. They are the ones who will defend an outcast, challenge an authority figure, or voice the unpopular opinion, even if it means social suicide. This makes them incredibly dangerous to corrupt systems or toxic family dynamics. You cannot intimidate them with isolation, because they are already comfortable being independent travelers. You cannot threaten them with exclusion, because they do not fear walking alone. When you provoke a Sagittarius on a matter of principle, you are not fighting a person, you are fighting their belief system. And for a fire sign, a belief is something worth dying for. So, we arrive at the final synthesis. The number one reason, the sum of all parts. Sagittarius is rarely a neutral figure in anyone's life history. They are a catalyst. They enter your life to expand it. If you are open, honest, and brave, they will be your greatest ally. They will show you worlds you never dreamed of, lift you higher than you could reach alone, and love you with a warmth that feels like the summer sun. But if you are deceitful, stagnant, or manipulative, they become your worst lesson. The lesson they teach is not through punishment, but through absence. The greatest danger of provoking a Sagittarius is not what they do to you, but what you lose when they leave. You lose the cheerleader, the protector, the comedian, and the truth teller all at once. They leave a void that is impossible to fill because their specific blend of fire and wisdom is unique. They teach you the value of what you had only after it is gone. And because they never look back, that lesson is permanent. As we close this file on the Sagittarius, we are left with a profound realization. They are the paradox of the zodiac, a creature of wild instinct and high philosophy, a being who loves everyone but belongs to no one, a soul that forgives the sinner but destroys the betrayal. To know them is a privilege. To keep them is a challenge. To provoke them is a mistake. If you are a Sagittarius, understand that your fire is a gift. Protect it from those who only seek to warm their hands before dousing the flame. And if you love a Sagittarius, give them the sky, and they will give you the stars. This concludes our deep dive into the Karmic Zodiac. But the research is never truly finished. I want to hear from the archers in the audience. Does this resonate with your spirit? And for those who have lost a Sagittarius, what was the lesson they left you with? Share your stories in the comments below. We read every single one. Until next time, look to the stars, but keep your feet on the ground.